Hello, and welcome to episode 10, I think it is, of the Story Seeker podcast. I never know exactly what episode we're on because I don't write them in the titles or anywhere, so it's always just like guessing based on what I think the last one was, which I didn't really know because I never really know, and so I just never know. Anyways, so I've been away for a few weeks. I'm not really going to talk about it now. I want to talk about it at some point. Lots of crazy things happening in my life, but nothing that crazy. But right now I just got back from my philosophy class, and I have about 14 more minutes until I have to run to my psychology class. And it was a really interesting philosophy class. We talked about stoicism, among other things, and I wanted to talk about it because that's just the space that my mind is in, and I would have loved to talk about it with my professor, but I didn't get the chance to. Yeah, I'm gonna jump right into it. So, we talked about stoicism. Quick disclaimer, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just had one hour-long lecture on stoicism and other stuff, and I'm in an intro to philosophy class. Those are my credentials. Okay, my conclusion, my partially formed conclusion that you shouldn't take too seriously from that hour is that stoicism is stupid and dumb. That's kind of the same thing. I also have my philosophy notebook here with me because I don't remember what I'm gonna say. Another thing, I'm all over the place right now, I'm very sorry, but another reason why I wanted to do this was because I try to, okay, my philosophy class is interesting. My teacher, I feel like the whole thing is sort of just a roller coaster ride, and this is really ironic because it has to do everything with what I'm going to be talking about, like the actual philosophy content, but it's sort of just like we're on a string and we're destined to go in a certain direction, and we start chronologically with the beginnings of what we know of philosophy, with at least I think with pre-Socratic philosophers before Socrates, and then just go chronologically through time, I guess this way, chronologically through time, and you see how it sort of evolves. Philosophical theories evolve over time. And so my teacher tries to involve the class a lot. He encourages us to talk, but it's not like a discussion exactly, and a lot of people don't speak up that much, including myself, as much as I would, because it sort of feels like there's a right answer to everything that he's saying, or at least not even that there's a right answer, but that every answer is wrong. Like anything that you say, it's kind of like he has whatever the next step in the chronological order of philosophy. He's about to go to that regardless of what you say. And so he's not really there to have a conversation with you and debate you. He's there to, I don't know, it feels like the participation is a little bit pointless because it's just spit out your ideas and I'm going to tell you why they're wrong and we should think this way instead or something. I don't know. It's not that I'm going to leave it at that because I don't have much time. So I spoke up today at some point in class, just pointing out what I thought was the hypocrisy of stoicism. And I don't know, I never feel like I can articulate things as well as I want to in philosophy as well as in other classes. And especially in philosophy where I feel like, again, the teacher's not really willing to debate me. He's not willing to debate me so much. So that's why I'm doing this and trying to get my thoughts out in a better way and just get better at this. Maybe I'll do this every time after my philosophy class. Who knows? So we started by talking about the idea of free will versus determinism. Two contrasting ideas, whether humans can make choices about their life, or whether everything is determinism basically follows that every effect has a cause, and therefore we don't really have a choice about everything that we do. Everything that we do is the only thing that we could have chosen. Like, choice is really just an illusion. And it basically, like, if you think of the idea of physics, like, you throw a ball in the air, and if you have all of the variables of the air resistance and the, and the force that it was thrown with, and the initial position, and all that information, a certain amount of information, you can accurately predict every single time with total precision where the ball is going to land, if you truly have all that information. And so the same follows that, like, okay, that ball is made up of atoms, we're made up of atoms, and so if everything is made up of atoms, why would it work any differently? And I haven't heard a good argument about why we do have free will. Coming into class, I had thought about free will and determinism before, but hadn't really been given this determinism argument. Sort of like, why do the rules of physics not apply to us? And I think I agree with it. I was just thinking, like, I believe in free will because I wouldn't want to live a life where I didn't think I had free will. And now my opinion has been changed. It's the way I think about it, the burden of proof is on suggesting that free will exists because determinism works for the rules of physics, and so it carries over, I think, that they would also work for the physics of humans. Like, it's just all physics. I think so. It's like, okay, until I hear that free will, some other explanation of, maybe if you believe that our consciousness exists independently of any matter or atoms or anything like that, okay, sure, but I don't think I believe that. I think it's all in the brain somewhere. There's some physical manifestation of our consciousness that can explain everything. Maybe not. Maybe I don't believe that. But for right now, I'm gonna just go with determinism. So then I was like, okay, this is bad, because I just said that free will, if I chose to believe in free will not because I had any proof, but because, or any evidence, but because I didn't want to live a life otherwise. And now it's like, okay, well, now I have evidence that determinism is probable, and so does this mean I don't want to live anymore? Like, this is not good. And so then he introduced us, my professor, to the idea of stoicism, and basically the idea, well, okay, after that, I did some thinking. I'm going to bring out my other notebook now. I did some thinking, and I was like, okay, actually, this is fine. This changes nothing. Determinism changes nothing. Because, even if I don't truly have choice, or like, I don't, even if this is the only outcome that ever could have happened, I only know what the outcome is after the fact, and I can only look back on it and say that was meant to be, or whatever. I can't predict the future because I can't understand all of the variables that make up life. Like, it's incredibly complicated. I will never be able to comprehend all of the reasons why I'm here today in this exact spot. I can simplify it and say I went to college because my parents wanted me to go to college, or whatever the reason is. I'm not saying it's exactly that. There's so many little bits of this and little bits of that and all these things. I took my philosophy class because why? Like, all of the factors coming together of, like, all of the exposure I've had to philosophy in my life, and also then, like, having space in my schedule, and the fact that it happened to work out in like the time that it is, whatever. So I will never be able to understand that. And, if I could, then I would be rich and I would, make tons of money in the stock market. Like, we can't predict the future, right? So why does it really matter? And it's sort of like there's only one, regardless of whether we have free will or not, there's only one that we know of, only one reality, right? And like maybe you believe in a multiverse kind of thing. I don't I don't currently. And so like if I can only experience one reality, what does it matter whether there are other possibilities or not? I can only say that my choices are meant to be in the past tense, and looking back, I can't change anything anyways. So it doesn't change how I make decisions. I'll still make decisions the same exact way. I just then, that's it. That's it. I just maybe think now that I didn't actually have those choices. But again, it's sort of like, it's almost like, isn't this obvious? Like, isn't it obvious that everything has some cause? Like, every thought you have has some cause, even if I can't explain it or grasp what that cause is. I think it's honestly maybe scarier to believe that given the same conditions, same exact conditions, something different could happen. I think that we believe that free will could exist because we mistake different conditions to be the same. Like, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that for now. I still haven't even really gotten to my critique of stoicism. So I was like, fine, it's determinism. I'm a believer, and it's okay. It doesn't even change anything, and it kind of makes sense. And I kind of had it internalized this whole time. I'm doing so much movement with my hands. I have like almost no time until I have to get to my psychology class. So I gotta move quickly with this. Okay, so then we talk about stoicism. So that's what I came to before, and now we talk about stoicism. And I really didn't know where this was going. And so they say basically, you can't control a lot of things, or you can't control actions essentially, but you can control how you react to them, basically. How you feel, sort of your own thoughts and opinions. And so what they say is you should try to acquire wisdom, acquire stoic wisdom, become dispassionate, decide that you don't care about anything. Like, in other words, all of the actions taking place in the world, they are the way they are. And we don't have true choice over what happens. We don't have control. And so if we don't have control, then why be upset about it? Or why even be happy about it? Feel nothing about it. Right? So, if we if we drop our expectations about what the world is going to be like, then it just is what it is. And so they say, like, the ideal life is one where you just, I guess, have no emotion. And are just completely dispassionate. They say emotions are unwanted disturbances of the soul. But I think I disagree with this, and I'm getting really close on my time, so maybe I might have to continue this later. But I think that it's hypocritical what they're saying. Sort of that, like, for me, I think if you believe in determinism, then you believe also that, like, your emotions also have causes and effects, and also your emotions, like, all of this stuff is affecting actions in the real world. Like, if you decide to be dispassionate, how can you decide to be dispassionate if you don't have a choice about anything? Because the reality is those emotions do translate into actions. And like, it's like the universe is giving you this one choice. You can't like control anything that happens. It was all meant to be, but you can decide to accept the fact that it was all meant to be. That's the one thing that you can control. And then you can be like, okay, I don't care. Like, to me, if you decide you're okay with what the universe gives you and what happens to you, and that you don't have control over it, you didn't have a choice to decide that. That is also part of the determinism. they're saying, our emotions encourage us to make wrong decisions. That when we act emotionally, that's when bad things happen. And I think that it's crazy to say that, like, that is like, how can a bad thing happen when we don't have free will and all of these things are meant to be anyways? It just seems like they're pushing determinism only as far as is convenient for them. And if you push it to its limit, if you actually believe in determinism, I think they're scared to fully believe in determinism and saying, oh yeah, everything is determined, but you can still decide how you feel about it all. And I think how you feel about it all is also part of that. It's not, how is that an exclusion from the determinism? Your emotions are still caused by something, even if that something is you deciding. Like, it comes from somewhere. I'm probably late for psychology, so I'm gonna leave. I hope you enjoyed. I will make more videos like this maybe. I know this was really animated and I was crazy the whole time, and I hope the audio was okay because I didn't have a microphone. And please leave a comment telling me what you thought. I'm gonna run to my psychology class, and bye.